Yo guys, Drine here, and today I am back with another castle. And this time I've used a texture pack called Conquest. Now, some of you may already recognize that name. On Java Edition there's a mod that adds lots of new textures for mainly medieval building, but a few months ago they finally released the Conquest texture pack on Bedrock Edition as well, so I thought I would give it a try. And this time I decided to challenge myself. I wanted to build with as much little details as possible. I wanted to give my builds life. I wanted to make it feel like things are going on, and I wanted to build things that I've never built before. I really wanted to challenge myself and create something unique. And I think I managed to do that. I have a lot to show you, so let's get right into it. Alright, so the setting for this castle is that it's at war. There is an army out there somewhere and it's gonna come across this castle and they are preparing for a battle. That's why you can see we have some hoardings on the walls here. The gatehouse, the gate over here is also closed. And you will see that I have a lot of little details to make this castle as best defended as possible, even though the shape of this castle isn't really that great. This castle is of course located on top of a little hill here. And by the way, can we just appreciate this terrain? This is another map from the marketplace, which is called Builder's Revenant 2, I believe. It's a map by Orifal Studios and they have made a 4K by 4K fully custom terrain map, and it was just absolutely perfect to just build a whole lot of castles in. Before we go in and take a tour, I just want to mention that this castle is in no way historically accurate. It is not, it's not accurate. There are a lot of mixed styles, like for example this beefy gatehouse over here. This is a gatehouse that you would normally see in concentric castles at the end of the medieval period. However, if you take a look at the other towers on this castle, barely any of them are round. Like this is the only round tower, so yeah, not a lot of realism here, but you know, it looks cool, and that's what I wanted to go for. Alright, let's take a look at this from down below. So let's take a little stroll here up to the gatehouse. So like I said, this castle is at war, or in a possible war, so right now the gate has been let down, and if I were an attacker, I would be very intimidated by this gatehouse. This is a very sturdy gatehouse. If the attackers want to get into the castle, they would have to break through this iron gate. However, in the meantime, when they're trying to break through, they're gonna get bombarded with arrows through these arrow slits or loopholes on either side, and also above them we have some murder holes. These are little holes in the ceiling where the defenders can shoot down arrows from, or throw down rocks, or throw down boiling hot oil. It's not gonna be a fun time for the attackers if they're in this position. Now here's a little fun fact for you. Some gatehouses actually have two gates. They would have one over here and another one over here, and they would lure the people in to the second gate and then close the first gate behind them, meaning they can separate a part of the attacking army, and basically it's only a matter of time before they're all killed. So right now the gate has been let down. However, I'm just gonna break through, and now we can walk into the courtyard of this castle. And I am so happy with how this turned out. There is so much atmosphere, so much life, and it's beautiful. I love it. It's so calming in here. It's so peaceful, and you can see these little particles flying around. That's because I've hit some, I think they're called spore blossoms, inside of the trees, which give off these particles. And this added so much atmosphere to this build. So let's take a look at things in a little bit more detail. Once you get through the gate, on the right we have some horses. So these are basic stables. We just have boxes for each horse, and we have some hay at the end over there. I've actually leashed these horses down with a fence post somewhere over there underground, which means they won't be able to just walk out. And we have some other small details here, like a barrel full of water, and at the end This is actually something really cool about this texture pack. It's that it retextured the shulker boxes to basically baskets of various stuff. Like some are fishes, this one looks like lettuce, and maybe some apples, maybe some red beets. I don't know. You can use your imagination, but these are supposed to be food for the horses. And then at the end we have a staircase, a wooden staircase going up into the armory, which is this tower right here. We'll go in there later. Let's first continue on our walk here through the courtyard. So on the right we have our stables, and on the left we have some storage for their hay, because again the castle is at war and they don't know how much food they're gonna need to get through a possible siege. Maybe a little bit of a real life example. I don't know which battle it was, but I've heard of people having to eat their own horses in a siege because they ran out of food, which is pretty gruesome. In the end they had to surrender anyways, so yeah. And over here we have a beautiful tree, which I just copy pasted from the map here. But yeah, we have a bench underneath, we have a lantern hanging from the tree branches, and of course we have some spore blossoms inside of the leaves. Also, one thing I want to mention is that this might be my favorite block in this texture pack. This is the azalea leaves and flowering azaleas. They look beautiful, and I made them grow up onto the wall over here, which I think looks really cool. So let's just continue up this path here, and you can see we have a little house over here. These are lodgings, which is basically a little house where people can sleep, or you know, maybe guests can live here or something. I don't really know, but you can see we have a beautiful dirt pathway in between the bushes leading up to the door. And this one is a smaller room, so we just have a bed, we got some candles, which are actually pretty expensive in the Middle Ages, so I don't know if these are I don't know if this fits here. We have an instrument on the wall. This is another thing that the Conquest texture pack adds. It retextured the music discs to various instruments, which I thought was genius. And up here we have a map of the castle. However, I haven't updated this one in a very long time. Look at that. Wow. Okay. That's a big difference. So yeah, we just have a small little cabin over here with beautiful birch wood. I really love the texture for birch wood in this texture pack. And we have another room over here, which is slightly bigger. Now I do want to mention that this fireplace is also not historically accurate at all. In the Middle Ages they would typically put their fireplace in the middle of the room, so the heat would be able to spread on all directions throughout the room. So again, in this room we have a bed and a desk, and the only difference with the previous one is that this is slightly bigger and it has the fireplace. So let's go back on the pathway and let's continue up around the courtyard. So over here we have a farmer's market. This is a very lucky farmer that happened to be within the castle walls when the gate closed, meaning he can basically sell all of his stock and to get a lot of money from this, because food is gonna be very important in a potential siege. And also, look at this. You can't hate against a small chest. I mean, it's so cute. It looks so cool. It's just a player hat, and they retextured it to a chest. I love it. Next to the market stand we have some wood storage, so we just have a bunch of logs tied up. And we also have a place where we can cut them down. But yeah, this is basically firewood for the winter, or in this case, to survive a siege. Now this thing in the middle over here, these are the gallows. So we just have this elevated wooden platform where they can basically publicly execute people or torture them. So we have a bench over here where they could tie up the people's arms and legs, and then, you know, discover some new holes on their bodies. And over here we got, you know, a post where they can hang people. So they would flick open this trapdoor and the person would ideally break their neck. That didn't always happen, however. When they didn't die from just falling, they would basically choke to death, which is what most people believe hanging yourself is. But it's not. It's actually supposed to be a painless way of dying by just instantly breaking your neck. And they've also tied up some guy on this fence over here, and I wonder how many days he has been here. he doesn't look healthy anymore. And in the back here we also have these things. I forgot what they're called, but basically this is where you would stick in your arms and your head. And sometimes it was also done with only your legs. And yeah, people can throw stones at your head, which in some cases, of course, it also resulted in death. Or they would throw some rotten food to your head. Now this building over here is the church, and we're gonna go in there in a second. But in front of the church we also have this little grassy area where people can just sit and relax. You know, they can just have a little chat with their friends while someone over there is struggling to live. And lastly, in this corner, in between the keep and the armory, we have the well. And I'm actually really proud of this design. So this is basically like the design you get when you search up medieval well, and I tried to build it in Minecraft, and I think it turned out pretty amazing. And that's basically the entire courtyard. There are a lot of little details here, and I just love walking through here. It's just beautiful. I just love this place. The spore blossoms added so much to this build. I really recommend you doing this as well in your builds because it just adds so much atmosphere. Anyways, it's now time to go into the towers of this castle, and we're gonna start with the armory, then we'll go to the gatehouse, then we'll explore the keep, the church, we're gonna go into the guard house over here, or the barracks, and then we're gonna talk about the fence, which is what this tower is all about, and this round tower at the very end. And now we can finally head up this wooden staircase, and you can see I'm using torches instead of lanterns here. That's because not a lot of people go here, so it makes sense to not use an expensive material for light. Let's head inside, and this is the armory. We have a lot of things here. So I'm using some, what are these called? Some jungle doors as shields. So there's like just a giant wooden shield standing against the wall here. And yeah, we just have some chests. We got some barrels with swords. We got some armor in these armor stands over here. And this is another pretty cool thing that you can do in this texture pack. These are supposed to resemble spears. So I have another one up here. So basically what I'm doing here is I have a composter and I'm shooting some tridents into it. These tridents actually look like spears if you like cut off the head, which basically happens when you put it in here. You can't really see the heads from down here, so it just looks like it's a barrel full of spears. And over here, this was my attempt at making a realistic grindstone. Of course, we already have a grindstone in Minecraft, however, this doesn't turn out of itself. It needs some kind of mechanism, and the way this works is that basically you would tap down your foot on some kind of pedal. This would turn some rope and some axles, and that would turn the wheel or something. I'm not sure how it works, but this stair block is the best way of representing it. Everything else just looked kind of weird. Anyways, we can head up the stairs, and this part is all about archery. So we have some crossbows hanging on the walls, we have some longbows in barrels, and of course lots and lots of arrows. We also have a target block tucked away underneath the stairs over here, and we also have some arrow slits and loopholes pointing both outwards and inwards to the castle. And we can head up one more story, and this is supposed to be like the bedroom of the, I don't know, the captain of the guard or something? Someone who is in charge of every soldier in the castle here. And of course, he deserves a better bedroom. I had no idea what to do with this room. It's way too big for one person in the Middle Ages. Farmers in the Middle Ages, they had a really small house. Like, they just had a campfire in the middle. Their floor would be made out of branches, and that's it. That's literally it. They just have a campfire in the middle, which is their source of heat. It's their source of light. It's their, where they cook their food. They might actually have some food hanging from the ceiling, so rats can't get up to it. They're always out in the fields working. They didn't really stay inside. That was a luxury in the Middle Ages. Anyways, let's go back down, and from this story we can actually access the battlements. And I am so proud of how these hoardings look. I just think they are amazing. So the reason why we have hoardings here is because these castle walls don't actually have matriculations. So they do have crenellations, which is, you know, the up, down, you get what I mean. But it doesn't have matriculations, which is when they stick out, which we actually have over here. From here, you're able to shoot directly down. However, from these castle walls over here, you aren't. So I have put the stair here, so it's like slanted, so you can lean on your belly here and then shoot down, but that would mean you're completely exposed to other archers from the attackers. So that's why people in the Middle Ages built these hoardings. So you can see we just basically have a wooden extension right over like the wall, and we can shoot out like this, and we can also shoot downwards. So people can't like try to climb the walls because we can see it and we can shoot back. And from here we also have a beautiful view of the courtyard. I love it. It looked so bad when I didn't have the trees in, but the trees really added so much. I'm just really happy with how this build turned out. So from the battlements we can also access the gatehouse. Now this isn't really that interesting. We just have some armor. That's not armor. These are barrels full of arrows. We have some armor on the armor stand over here, and we have a shield over here in the corner, and you can actually go up to the roof of the gatehouse, and we can head down a story. And again, this is purely meant for defense. There is not a lot going on here, and we can head down one more story to go to these arrow slits or loopholes right into the gatehouse. You can kind of see the gate over there. This is where the defenders would shoot at the enemies from all sides. And from this part of the gatehouse we can also access the mechanism for the gate. So this right here is the gate right underneath us, and yeah, you can see it goes all the way up. We'll go there in a second. We also have these papers up on the wall, so the guards, when they, you know, let people in, they can check if they're not letting in a wanted criminal. And if you look down, these are the murder holes we saw in the beginning of this video. Let's go up, and this is where the mechanism is at. So this is just a small room. You can see the mechanism for the gate, and over here we also have access to some more arrow slits as well. So the way this works is that you can see the gate down there. So it has 3 chains or ropes, but in this case they're chains. There are 3 chains connected to it. The ones on the corners, these go up, go over by some pulley system, and go back down into this wooden beam, which you can turn with these levers. And this is basically what you will be using to lower and pull up the gate. And then this last chain over here, this one goes up again through a pulley system that goes this way and goes down into a counterweight. Because of course such a big gate is really heavy, and if you have the correct counterweight, you can basically lower and pull up the gate with one person. But yeah, it's just a very basic system to pull up the gate without much effort. So we've now explored the armory and the gatehouse. Let's now head into the keep. And I'm gonna have to go a little bit faster now because time is ticking fast and I don't want this video to be an hour long. So when we enter, we are now inside of a hallway. And there isn't really that much going on. However, if we go through this archway, we're now inside of the feast hall. So you can see we have some normal tables for, you know, the lower nobility, and for the lords of the castle and his family. That's where this table over here, which is elevated from the rest, is for. So they eat out of golden plates. Now, in the Middle Ages, they didn't actually use plates as we know them. Instead of plates, they actually had long, flat pieces of bread to put their food on, which is actually pretty smart, because you can just eat your plate after you're done. Anyways, let's return back to the hallway, and we can go through this door and go to the main staircase. We can go up, and of course the staircase is curving up to the right. This is because an attacker, a right-handed attacker, would have to expose its entire body to, you know, use his right arm to swing a sword, because of course this pillar is in the way. However, a right-handed defender can use his arm just fine, and he doesn't have to expose his entire body to swing at the attacker down below. So at the next story we have the apartments. And again, I'm gonna go a bit fast here. I'm only gonna explore one room Let's go into this one. Yes, this one is actually occupied, so it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cozy in here. So in here, we just, again, got basic stuff. We got a bed, we got some books, we got an armor stand for their armor, we got some candles, and another desk for writing. And that's pretty much it. These are pretty similar. This one isn't actually occupied, so there's no light here. But yeah, not that much to see here. Let's head up further to the library. And we have a lot of books here. Look at the amount of books here. Oh my goodness. So at the front we have a little desk for the librarian. And over here we got these tables where people can sit down and read a book. And every table has its own light, so people have plenty of light to read. And then you can see that we have thousands upon thousands of books. There are so many bookshelves here. Let's continue to go up, and this is the clerk's office and the archive. So this is the place where the people that, write documents or sign laws or whatever, I don't know what clerks do, they basically write it all down and make sure it's all well documented. So everyone has their own desk and seat, and they can write down on this lectern. And over here we have the archive. This is basically a place where they can store old documents, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And over here we have a dove code, because this is how you would message other castles. So you can see we have lots of these wooden beams going across where the birds can sit on. We got lots of poop on the ground as well. And yeah, they would just fly in through these holes in the walls, and they can rest here, and people can take the message from their bird feed. I think that's how it works. Anyways, we can head up one more story, and this is the upper story. This is the Lord's quarters. So we have two doors. We got the private. This is his living room and his bedroom, and over here we got the office. There isn't a lot of decoration here. This is purely functional. So, we got some seats for people. They can sit down and talk with the Lord. And we have the Lord himself with a higher seat, of course. He can write down in his book over here. And yeah, just very, very basic decoration. Nothing too much going on here. No distractions. However, in his private quarters, that's of course where a little bit more of luxury is permitted. So, on the left we have a beautiful, again, this texture pack. I love the paintings. This is just a stunning painting. And yeah, up here we just have a bunch of weird artifacts. This one is actually supposed to... Whoops. This one is actually supposed to be turned a bit like that. I think that looks better. To the right we have this small dining table with some special food like golden melon or, I don't know, berries that came from the other side of the world. And at the end over here we have another huge fireplace with a little bench to sit on and just to relax. Over here, this is his bedroom. So on the left we have a mirror. I don't even know if these existed in the Middle Ages, but I'm just gonna go with it. On the right we have his suit of gold armor, all very fancy and expensive. And we have these curtains here, and if you just go through the curtains, it's all very fancy. These walls have been carved out of wood, and I love these textures. They look so cool. And we have some candles here, but the Lord can easily pay for that. He has enough money. Anyways, if we head up even more, this is not for normal people. This is only for guards. So instead of a staircase, we now are using a ladder. And you can see that this gives access to the top of the keep over here. And you can further head up the staircase to the top of that tower at the corner. But of course, a castle needs servants. And where do these servants sleep? Well, if you go underneath the main entrance, and this is where they would prepare the food, because of course the feast hall needs a kitchen. It needs somewhere where the food can be prepared. So we got a long, very big table over here where they can prepare all of the cakes, prepare all of the food. We got a trash can, we got some smokers, we got a source of water. This wall over here, these are supposed to resemble like wine bottles. So that's how they are stored. And over here we got some barrels and some chests for extra storage. And when the food is ready, they would go through this door and head up. You know, we got another little closet over here. They would head up the staircase to the feast hall, which is right over here. But of course the servants also need a place to sleep, and that's this place. It looks terrible, and I know that. There is purposefully no decorations at all in this area. It's just for sleeping and nothing else. And lastly, we can head down these stairs at the end to the jails. So we have 4 jail cells in this hallway, and yeah, this doesn't look like somewhere you would want to be stuck in. You can see the ceiling is falling out. There's dirt here, hanging roots. We got some cobwebs. We got lots of leaves growing. We got a skull over here. Also some blood on the ground. This is horrible. No, I'm just gonna close this back up and let's just stay away from these. This is not a place you would want to be. And at the end here we got even more storage for food because of course we're still in war and we need resources. We need food if we want to survive as long as possible. So we just have lots and lots of barrels full of food. And lastly, we have this. This is not something you would want to see ever. Because if you see this with your own eyes, you're pretty much dead. And it's not a fun death at all. This is something that's called an oubliette, which is French because oublier means to forget in English. And it's basically a pit where they would throw anyone that they just don't care about anymore. They just throw people in here and they let them starve to death. Sounds pretty horrible, right? Well, it can actually get even worse. You see, sometimes in some castles they would actually have this hole be so small, like it would be slightly smaller than a full block here in Minecraft. So they would make it so that you can stand up just fine, but it's just barely too thin to sit down, meaning you will have to stand until the end of your life. It doesn't sound like, you know, like horrible, but I can assure you, try just standing still for any amount of hours, your legs are gonna hurt. And of course they're not gonna get any food in here, and that's why some castle planners, some evil castle planners in the Middle Ages thought it would be funny to build this pit right next into the walls of the feast hall, meaning the prisoners here can smell the food, but they can't get to it. Yeah, you do not want to get sentenced to death in the Middle Ages. Oh my goodness, I forgot what this looks like at night. This also just looks absolutely fantastic. The atmosphere in this build, I love it. It looks so cool. Anyways, it's now time to head into the church. And I think it's pretty bare. There is not a lot going on, but I like it. So we have benches on either side of the middle hallway, and this all leads up to the altar, which once again uses these very fancy blocks. I just love these textures. So this is where the priest would be standing and preaching for all of the people in this castle. And I used another small chest over here. This is to pay indulgence. And there's actually another really cool detail in this build that I added right behind the altar. You can see we have a rope here going into the wall here. So this is where the priest would pull the rope to ring the bell. So the rope would go up into the wall, into like a little shaft inside of the stone walls, and it would go up and it would come back out over here where it will ring the bell. I just thought that would be a really cool detail to add. And you might be thinking, how is this possible? Well, you see, I'm just really good at Minecraft. And also there's this thing called a chicken spawn egg. Anyways, let's now enter the barracks over here. And we're gonna do that from the battlements of this wall over here, which once again gives a really nice view of the courtyard. So if we head inside, you can see that this is kind of the area for soldiers to kind of just relax and drink a beer with friends. So yeah, we just have lots of cups here on the table. We got an armor stand. We also have a little table for 2 persons to, I don't know, play chess or something. And we also have lots of loopholes in all of the walls. And we can head downstairs, and this is their bedroom, basically. So this is where they would sleep, so everyone has their own bed. Some beds are in a worse state than others. Everyone also has 1 chest and an armor stand to hang up their armor. So yeah, it looks like we have space for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 soldiers here. Oh, and it looks like the last soldier actually has a little teddy bear here. And yeah, over here we also just have a little wardrobe and a closet right underneath the stairs here, which hasn't been opened for a very long time, it seems. And of course, this also gives access to the top of this tower and to the flag. Alright, this is turning into a long video. We have seen a lot. Apart from these two towers, these are purely meant for defense. So what is this tower about? This is the last resort. If the castle gets under attack, the lord will be brought into this tower, and they basically have lots of weapons and provisions to survive in this single tower for another at least a few weeks. And because this tower over here is directly connected to this tower, this one also needs a lot of defensive features. So we can head inside from these battlements over here. We can just go through the door, and now we're in the bottom floor. That rhymed. So we just have some weapons over here, and this also gives access to the diagonal hoardings on this wall over here, which I think actually turned out pretty well. Of course, they're not perfect. If you go to this wall over here, it's it's not ideal, but this part over here, considering it's diagonal, it looks pretty good. And to get up, we can take these stairs up here, and they're made out of wood, meaning they can basically set fire to this entire tower, and it's gonna save them. I don't know, it depends if the attackers already have ladders ready, but this is definitely gonna buy some time, because first they have to wait until the fire is out, and then the attackers are gonna have a difficult time to get up to this door to get to this tower over here. So yeah, as a defense, they can basically set fire to these posts and everything will collapse. Also, this is, in Minecraft, a block is always 1 meter wide, but just imagine these stairs are like very thin and right next to the wall, meaning a right-handed attacker can't really swing a sword because his arm is right against the wall, otherwise he'll fall off the staircase. And of course, while they're trying to get up the staircase, archers can just shoot down everyone trying to come up. And if we go up, this is another really cool detail. I am really proud of this rooftop. So this is basically like a hoarding that's still being built. Currently it's under construction, so you can see it doesn't go all the way around. And yeah, there's just so much detail. Like, you got some planks on the ground, we got some crates in the corner, we got a bench over here, a workbench. I'm also using, what is this even called? This is a stone cutter, which actually looks like it has an X on top, so I don't know, it could be like a wood workbench or something. And again, we got a saw over here. There's so much detail you can add with this texture pack. We can head over the crenellations here, and you can see that even this still looks like it's being constructed. Like, we have a light source on a table over here. Again, candles are really expensive, so I wouldn't use them here. But, I wasn't thinking of that when I was building. And again, we have some more crates and some more workstations over here. And over here, they only just got the supports in. That's what these holes in the wall are for. This is to fit in the supports for the hoardings. But yeah, I'm really proud of this tower over here. This looks fantastic. Anyways, there is one last tower to explore, and my voice is dying, so I'm gonna have to make it a little bit quick, although there is still quite a lot to see. So this is the last resort. If the attackers can get to this point, they have already gone through a lot. But again, that doesn't stop us from defending ourselves from this tower as well. So we got a very thick door. Just imagine it opens in the same way. So this is the room you enter when you go through the door. This is basically the map room / lookout and also communication. This is supposed to resemble like a bird cage for like a dove. They can send out to message other castles for help or something. And down here we got lots of barrels filled with sand or any other heavy material, maybe rocks, and they can shove them right in front of the door, which will block the attackers from coming in. And on this table right here, I have made a map of the entire 4K by 4K map of this world. It took me 5 hours, but it was worth it because it looks cool. So we right now are this icon right here in the middle of my screen. That's where we are right now, and up here we got another icon. This is the spawn. So yeah, we're kind of surrounded by mountains, and we got the coast over there as well. Anyways, let's head down, and this is the room where everyone sleeps. There's not gonna be a point where every single guard has to sleep, because of course you also always want at least one guy to be awake. So we don't really need a lot of beds here, but of course the Lord gets his own his own fancy bed over here. And of course another spare suit of armor. And over here there's another ladder going down, and this is where they eat. So we got lots of barrels with food, we got some pots and pans, once again using the paintings of the Conquest texture pack. We have some knives up here as well, and we got a table where people can eat salted meat or dried meat and salted fish. I think that's what makes them last longer. And we can head down one last ladder to the very bottom of the tower, and this is food storage. This is all about storage of food that can last long. Carrots can't last long. Why did I put carrots here? Anyways, yeah, we got barrels full of food. We got wine bottles up here. We have lots of candles as well in case they run out, and also some trash. We got, this is supposed to be like honeycomb, so this is where they would make the candles from. In here we got another barrel filled with wine or something. We got some chests and some water over here as well. But you'll notice that we don't actually have an actual water source here. We do have a cauldron filled with water, but that's gonna run out. But I can assure you we do have a hidden water source here, but more on that later. I think it's a really cool detail, so I'm excited to show you. But first we don't need to get down, we need to get up to the next story. This is the armory, so, and I guess also the weaponry. So we got lots of weapons here, we got armor here, lots of stuff going on. We got some shields here, and oh, I just picked up all of the tridents. Anyways, this right here, this is our water source. I don't think you get it, so let me explain. This is a shaft going all the way down inside of the tower walls down to a natural spring below. So let me get a light. So, they have a trapdoor here to close it for safety, but they would pick their bucket and their rope, and it would go all the way down until it reaches a water cave over here. And I just had some fun with TNT. I just placed some TNT down here and I blew everything up and I filled everything with water. But like I said in the start of this video, I wanted to add as much detail and story and life as possible. So what if people accidentally drop down things down this shaft? Because of course that happens. And that's why we have lots of junk down here. We got a trapdoor here, we got a bucket, or I guess a cup. We have a little chest that fell down, we have some planks that fell down, and unfortunately, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see a human head here as well. Maybe it was a child who was unsupervised, or maybe even a baby, or maybe an unfortunate servant that had to clean up and he fell down and no one really realized he did until it was too late. I just thought of adding that little detail. I thought that was pretty cool. Also, I'm gonna close this trapdoor so I don't fall in and drown myself. Anyways, we can head up once more. This is not the ladder is over here. I am tired. My voice needs rest. But now we're at the top of the tower. We have some more barrels with arrows and another flag. As long as this flag is up, we know that the king is well and alive. However, I didn't think this was enough defense, because what if they can actually get into this tower? Then you're basically screwed. They can take over your food supply down there, so that's why I put the water supply up here, so they can't access it and poison it. But yeah, once they're actually inside of this room and you've blocked this off, you're basically stuck up here. So that's why we need a secret exit. You might have seen this barrel here, but what if we grab this barrel and roll it over to the side. We have a ladder going down. This is a secret exit that goes down in between the walls of this tower, and it leads to a tunnel that will go all the way out to the forest. So some of these wooden planks have actually rotten away, so you need to be careful not to fall down. And let's go down here. As you can see, we're really low down. We're underneath the tower right now, underneath the foundation of the tower, and we have a very long tunnel. So let's explore. Where does this lead to? Oh, look at this. So right here, you know, again, I wanted to add as much detail and life as possible. So let's say this was, I don't know, a cave, and they just kind of dug into it and threw it again on this side. However, this tunnel is very old, so the ceiling of the cave has collapsed, and you can see dirt coming through and hanging roots, and it's just dropping down water, and stalagmites are forming, and we just have dirt on the ground and dead plants. And I just thought this would add so much detail, and I love it. I love these little storytelling. I wish I added more in this castle. So what this tunnel is going to do right now is it's going to curve a lot, because if you are being chased by an attacker, well, you could totally be standing right around the corner and have your sword ready, so the attacker would have to slow down at every corner to be careful to see if there's no one like standing there to attack you. So that's why I put these curves in here to slow down attackers. And let's continue. Okay, so now we're going down, which means we're outside of the hill of the castle. So we need to go down with the landscape, otherwise we're gonna come out too soon. Let's see where this leads to. Oh, it looks like we're at another cave. And they once built a bridge here, however, it has fallen down, it has rotten away, so I'm just gonna fly over this. Let's continue on our way, and look at that. We have some dirt, which is not great, because that means the tunnel has caved in. So hopefully it's not too much, so we can just dig through. Alright, we're good, we can continue. It wasn't too much dirt that caved in. And, oh, another pile of dirt, however, this time it's because we're at the entrance. I mean the exit, not the entrance. This is where we end up, in the middle of a forest, and we're totally obscured from the castle. The castle is over there. There we go, you can see it in the distance. We really went that far underground, and there is no way the attackers are gonna notice if anyone leaves here. Anyways, my voice is pretty much gone. It's hurting to speak. But that was the entire castle explored. I really hope this video didn't turn out too long. So yeah, I might actually, I don't know if I will add like actual siege or like war machines out here to indicate that it's really at war, because I've already done that. When I built my concentric castle, I built like catapults and trebuchets and battering rams around it. So if you want to see that, you can check out that video. I'll leave a link, like a card on the top right hand corner, but I don't think I'm gonna build it in this world. However, that was it for me today. This has been an amazing project to work on, and I am really happy I could finally share it with you, because this took a very long time to finish. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you, hopefully, in the next video. Goodbye.